Hello, listeners and viewers. Welcome to another edition of Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham, where Team Needham discuss everything healthcare. I am your host, Shawn Needham, along with my wonderful wife, Janet, and the producer. We, in the studio today, are at AM 1470 KBSN, and in the studio today we have Laury and Dave Chandler, an inspirational couple. We're going to learn a little bit about them and their goals to health and how they achieve their health. So watch us every Monday here, every Monday 1 to 2 p.m. on KBSN. Also, I'd like to wish all you veterans out there a wonderful day, a wonderful Veterans Day. Without you, we would not be on this radio show. This freedom of speech that we have is because of you guys and gals, and we thank you so much for your service. So, Laury and Dave, we'll start with Laury. Laury, introduce yourself.
Well, hi there. I'm Laury Chandler. I am an empty nester, and we have been married our whole adult life, it seems, and we keep busy. And what else do you want to know?
Well, there's a lot more to know for sure. So let's go ahead, Dave. You're just extra popular in Moses.
Yeah,
so
right.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Dave.
Unfamous, I call it. I'm a resident of Moses Lake. Grew up here, moved away a couple of times, and was one of those guys who said as soon as high school's over, I'm out of here, and came back. Love being in Moses Lake. And really excited about being with you today, Shawn. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I appreciate you guys being on the show. You guys have a wonderful journey to health and how you overcame some obstacles and kind of transverse the typical healthcare system. And I want to hear that story and share it with our listeners. So, Laury, you kind of started off with some issues years ago. Tell us about that and how you decided to overcome that.
Well, I was not a real active kid, and I would prefer to read, and so being active wasn't a big part of my life until I got to high school, and I decided to try to keep my body toned up and my weight down. And then after I had a baby, I realized that I needed more energy, and so exercise became a part of my life, an important part of my life, and I also felt like exercise would be a road to keeping young and keeping healthy through my whole life. I've had 6 children, so there were times that I couldn't exercise quite like I wanted to, but I've always been pretty consistent and always tried to drag Dave into it. But Dave grew up on the farm, and his dad was of the opinion that if you want to get in shape, you just go out and change a couple of wheel lines. And so I didn't really want to go change a couple of wheel lines, so I stuck with running, and then I did some Taebo, and that was kind of my mindset.
I see. Well, times have definitely changed from changing wheel lines and hand lines. So, it doesn't take a lot of energy to change a circle, right, Dave? So you just turn the button on.
No, you don't even turn the button on. You just, just drive by and make sure it's going.
Right. Well,
your smartphone.
I was going to say it's been a while since I've worked on a circle farm, but I would imagine now you can control them with your cell phone.
I think so. I'm not an expert on that, but I think so.
So, Laury, you had some trauma, a few years back. Can you talk to us a little bit about that and how what the typical healthcare system what road they wanted you to go down?
Dave and I were in a car accident. We were rear-ended, and so we got whiplash twice, and it was very difficult. And starting right away, they wanted to give us a ton of drugs, and they wanted to do surgery on me. At the time, they did not know that Dave also needed some surgery, but I've always been of the mindset that God created our bodies to heal themselves, and we should try to figure out ways to facilitate that. And in my mind, drugs and surgery was not the way to bring the best health to my body. So because of that mindset and personal experiences, bad experiences in having too much antibiotics and other such things, I was just really anti trying to use drugs to solve the problems that we had from our car wreck.
So what did you do to overcome that?
I did a lot of chiropractic and a lot of massage and some diet, and I got some healing. I got a lot of healing from the massage therapist, but I became very frustrated because every time I tried to exercise, it just seemed like it hurt too bad, and I ended up kind of with the same pain that I got from all of the car wreck and everything. All of my muscles just hurt and nothing seemed to work. And so I felt like I couldn't do anything about that. I was stuck with not being able to exercise. I was permanently damaged. That's how I felt.
I see. So did you change your diet at all to help you overcome some of this, or?
You know, I'm ashamed to say that I have kind of experimented quite a bit throughout my life and tried to eat healthy. I haven't been over the top with anything. I've had a couple bad habits, but really I've eaten pretty healthy all my life. But I am ashamed to say that at that point, I wasn't focusing too much on that at that time, which is really strange for me because I really believe in it, and I've used a lot of, you know, things that I think are healthy, like vitamins and minerals and green drinks and you know, foregoing junk food. But you know, no, unfortunately at that time it was mostly about pain management and surviving.
I see. So tell me how you did some of that pain management.
You know, not well. You know, but it wasn't with drugs. Mostly just it was trying to manage energy with caffeine and sleep. And, you know, I did a lot of research, and I'm very thankful. That was 20 years ago. We were in the car wreck. And since then, I feel like there's been a lot of research and a lot of new information come out. And so a lot of the pain management would be massage therapy.
So that's wonderful. I can tell you I've had some personal, you know, a little over a year ago, I had some personal experience with massage therapist, and of course, conventional medicine want to prescribe drugs and maybe even do surgery. And I am not kidding, one 15-minute massage fixed my issue. And I just think as a pharmacist, how many people are on drugs or do surgery and they didn't go down that road? And my stepmom is a massage therapist, and she's going to be in our show. She's going to be on our show next month. So I'm a big believer in that. Also chiropractic, stay tuned because we're going to have a chiropractor on our show next month also. I think some of those that we call alternative, I don't necessarily like the word alternative because I think they should be, you know, not an alternative.
Mainstream.
It should be first line mainstream stuff. But it's not really the way our conventional healthcare system works, and we can get into a little bit of that later. So, Dave, did this car wreck change your health at all?
Well, Shawn, it was a really bad car wreck. We were one of 4 or 5 cars that were totaled in it, and we were the small car. And so, yeah, they pulled us out of that car, and we were messed up. So through that, they decided, it's really funny, the day after, or maybe that night, they literally sent us home with, and I don't want to knock on doctors, they do a good job, I'm not here, but they sent us home with a paper bag of medicine to try.
Grocery size.
A grocery size paper bag. It was so full you could not roll the top. And I'm sure there's going to be somebody go, "Who was that, doctor?" No, I'm not going to tell you. And he said, you know, and wrote on the side of the bag what to do. We looked at that, and I just thought, I'm not going down that road. We were in a lot of pain, but I just thought, this is a... So I did have to have a surgery. I don't do surgeries well. When that was a bad experience, but because of that, it affected both of us in such a way that, you know, we didn't realize at the time in a negative way. And that's when I really began to put on weight. I had never had a weight problem up until then. But after coming out of surgery and whatnot, we were both in constant pain. We were always in constant pain. The surgery they did to me, when they got done, they said, well, it was a 50-50 chance it would work. Sorry to say it didn't work for you. And I'm like, you didn't tell me it was a 50-50 chance going in. But anyway, that's okay. I was in constant pain up until about 3 years ago. And so because I didn't want to go down the drug route, you just learn to work around so I wouldn't use that side of my body a lot of the time. It interrupted our sleep, and that's a bad thing. It interrupted, you know, you just become sedentary. And so then I began to realize, man, I'm packing the weight on. Not good. But
so what did you do to change 3 years ago?
Well, Actually about 9 or 10 years ago, I lost a lot of weight, and but I was never one to be in a gym or work out. I just didn't. As my wife said, I was a farm boy. You needed exercise. You went out and changed hand lines or siphon tubes, and,
Right.
and that was exercise. Come on, man. And but about 3 years ago, was driving home from Montana. Was kind of having one of those moments. I'm in my 60s now, having one of those moments. Am I washed up? She was asleep, and frankly, I was praying, and I just said, man. God, is my good times over? But I really felt like the Lord said to me, no, I've got a lot more for you to do, but you got to take care of your body, and I wasn't. And the word He gave me was, you got to take care of the temple, and I wasn't. Shortly after that, I decided to get in the gym. You got to understand, I was never a gym rat, had never picked up weights. Got in the gym. I think my wife thought, oh, this is a fad, it'll last about 2 weeks. Had an individual, became a workout partner, and I began going down that road, and we're in the gym 6 days a week, and when we're not in the gym, we really miss it. So it wasn't just that, I changed my diet a lot, got in the gym. After a couple months of being in the gym, Laury realized, hey, I think he's serious about this. She started getting in the gym with me, so now she's my workout partner.
You're skipping part.
I'm skipping part? Probably.
Fill us in, Laury.
So he's skipping my part. My part is because I had tried to keep exercising and it hurt. I thought, I can't do anything. And you can probably get help for anything if you have the time and the money, but I didn't pursue that because I didn't feel like I had the time or the money. But I thought I'll see if I can't maybe work out with Dave and watch Dave and see if I can't copy some of the stuff, because lifting weights, there's small ones, 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, and I thought, I might not be able to do 3 sets of 12 each with 20 pounds, but I might be able to do 3 sets of 2 each with 2 pounds. And I felt that I had to get using those muscles, because I felt if I didn't, they would atrophy and it would never get better. To me, it just made sense. You better use your muscles, because it's only going to keep getting worse. You're getting older every day, and it's never going to get better if you don't move them. And so I felt at least some movement would be better than no movement, even if maybe it was a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I did go down, and I started with Dave, and he was generous to be able to help me, even though we had another workout partner. And I started small, very, very small. And I decided, I don't care if everybody around me is, lifting 100 pounds and they're all buff and they're all this. I didn't care. I thought, you know what? This is for me and my body, and I have to take care of my body. I have to read my body. So what if it's only 1 pound or 2 pounds? It's something.
Well, I think that's great. That's a good segment into, you don't need to lift heavy.
No.
Body weight exercise is fine a lot of times, and lightweight. But what's important is that you do something. And I think if there's one type of exercise that you can pick, if you're only going to do one type of exercise, I think resistance training is probably the most important, especially as we age, because especially if you do the right resistance training and take short breaks, you can get a lot of cardio in with it. So you guys look amazing, and by the way, Laury, you are buff, so and so are you, Dave.
Thank
So
you.
we are wrapping up our first segment here at Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. We will be back in a couple of minutes. Hello. Welcome back to Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. We have Laury and Dave Chandler in the studio with us today, so let's continue on with your guys' journey to health. So you guys were talking about starting out resistance training like 3 years ago, so let's go ahead and tell us more about that.
Well, Shawn, you started to say resistance training, and the older you get, you got to worry about your bones, your ligaments. And one of the things that I tell people is, listen, if you've not been in the gym, first of all, take it very slow and find someone who can train you. That's really, really important, because I see a lot of people in the gym will hurt them. They'll go out a week, they're going crazy, they get very, very sore, and then you never see them again. So that's what we really did. But I'm the type of guy that I have to have goals in front of me. And after about 6 months and really beginning to see some results, had to change your diet. I made the radical idea of hiring a trainer, getting on a team, and getting into competitive bodybuilding. And at 60 years old, that's like, what? And that's where I met up with Todd Scoll, my trainer, and got on his team. And that really, he took me to the next level. And I love to say he and I have a love-hate relationship. There are days when I walk out of our sessions, I call Laury and say, I really, really do not like this guy. But anyway, I do. He's a very good friend. But it's that idea of I wanted targets in front of me. I wanted to be able to push myself. And now it's just, so that's a part of our life, competing, watching our diet. But it was that, I want to back up, I was in pain after that surgery until I started weightlifting. And after about 3 months of weightlifting, I realized one day the range of motion was back in my body and the pain was gone. I mean, I have not had that pain since then. And literally doctors had said, well, that part of your life's probably over. It's taking care of your body, it's training, it's moving. Find something that you're going to do and move and stick with it. Set goals that are achievable. Get somebody to help you, whatever it is, if it's, resistance training or bike riding or something.
Well, so if you don't mind me cutting you off a little bit.
No.
I appreciate you telling us that, and basically what I'm hearing from you is, and this is what I like to tell patients and tell anybody, is a body in motion tends to stay in motion.
Yeah.
A body at rest tends to die.
Yeah.
And basically that's what the doctors were telling you, and it is so fortunate that you didn't listen to them. And, you kind of gave away your age already, so what's your exact age?
I'm 62. I'll be 63 in April.
You're looking amazing, and you are an inspiration to us. And what's incredible about that is that we used to think 50 was old. We used to think 60 was old. Well, now you know what? 70, 80 isn't old. I mean, I've got patients that are active in their 70s, 80s. It is incredible. But they're like yourself.
Yeah.
They exercise regularly. They eat well. They take care of themselves. And, they don't listen to standard medical, conventional medicine because if you would have, Laury, you might not be speaking with us today. You'd probably be speaking with us today. You'd be with us today probably, but you probably wouldn't be speaking with us because you guys wouldn't be in great health and be an inspiration to everybody else. And I'm just glad that you let us use you to encourage others.
Yeah.
So speaking of a coach, go ahead, Laury.
Okay, well Dave has a coach, and I get to join in sometimes with them. But for me, one of the things that has helped me is I mentioned earlier about consistency, and I have some other issues in my life that make me tired, and sometimes I just really don't feel like working out. But the fact that I have a workout partner helps keep me committed to that, and I get that encouragement. And so I would encourage you, if you are thinking about going into resistance training, get yourself a friend or a spouse or somebody who can be an encouragement, but can also, you're going to let them down if you don't go. So they can help keep you accountable that way. And so I appreciate that about Dave letting me be his workout partner, because even though he's doing the heavier stuff and the more intense bodybuilding stuff, we're still workout partners, and we still keep each other going.
That's great. And about a little over a year ago, Janet and I started doing that with our biking, and we started working out together. And there's probably some love-hate relationship there some days. Although I gotta admit it, my wife does not complain. She is a coach's dream for sure. Never complains. She just does her workout. But it holds both of us accountable. I mean, for sure. And speaking of accountability, you talked about a personal trainer or a coach, and that is one thing that can really help hold us accountable, because it's hard to disappoint other people. At least, usually we don't like to. So I know I have a mountain bike coach, and he checks my workouts and sends me workouts every Monday. And I know if I don't get them done, he's going to see them, and I'm going to, he's great about it. I mean, and very inspirational about it, and encouraging, and understands that, daily life, gets in the way for sure. But Yeah, have an accountability partner. Just on that same subject, I think that goes along all with life. So you're eating too.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys encourage each other with your diet too, and you try not to. You stay away from junk, and you stay away from other things that you probably shouldn't be eating too much of, just because you hold each other accountable.
Oh
Correct?
yeah, we make fun of each other at the grocery store if we see each other reaching for junk.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest. I've got a weakness for junk food. That's one of my weaknesses. And
Potato chips.
Oh, I could eat a whole
Oh,
bag.
geez, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why we largely just don't buy them because
Lay's, you
of
can't just eat one.
Yeah, right. I would eat them all.
Yeah.
And it really, and this is really in other areas of our life, whether we're trying to get healthy from exercise or diet, or trying to lose weight, or we're trying to be a better pharmacist, or a better a better runner, a better biker. Hang around people that are good at those things. And I call it the proximity principle, and that is not original to me. There's actually a book out there about it, proximity principle, from Ken Coleman, I believe, through Dave Ramsey, Dave Ramsey Solutions.
Yeah.
Wonderful book. It's more about business, but it goes to our private lives too. If you want to, stop drinking or drink a lot less, then don't hang around people that drink a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just really, really, honestly, the gosh truth. So, proximity principle. We'll put that in the show notes too, so you guys can look that book up. So bodybuilding, you competed, and how long was it, Dave, until you did an actual show after you started lifting weights?
So I had lifted for about 7 or 8 months, met with Todd, and I got his permission to tell this story. The first time I met with him, I could see in his eyes he wanted nothing to do with me. My age, was not a gym rat, but he was talked into giving me a shot, and so I started working out with him. I'd been working out probably 9 months. I started working out with him in December a couple of years ago, and he said, we're going to do your first show in April. And so he introduced me to the life of diet. In bodybuilding, 80% of bodybuilding is diet. It's not the weights. You can lift a ton of weights. It's diet.
Let me go on that. I think that's I'm a competitive mountain bike racer, and it's diet. So much of it is diet. You cannot exercise your way out of a crappy diet.
No.
Go ahead, Dave.
So he sets my diet. And so you have not only somebody who has set my workout regimen and knows when I'm cheating, but I can walk in our times together, and he can look at me. And I've learned, I'm not going to lie to him anyway, but I've learned I'm just not going to lie because he can pick it up. And, just last week, because I've been kind of off, I took the summer off, needed to get some other things health-wise. I had a couple of health challenges, had to work through. It's hard to diet on those. I'll compete again in April 2 or 3 times this coming spring. I walked in last week, he looked at me and he said, you're fat. It's time to get on point. And
hey, we need people like that.
Yeah.
I wish.
Where's the sugar, baby?
Right. So my kids and I have 2 boys, and they are just amazing. I mean, they are incredible athletes in themselves. I mean, they work out 6 days a week, and they are just ripped and not short like me, tall and buff. And we kind of have an unwritten rule. I told them, I said, look, we're going to hold each other accountable, all right? So.
They're brutal to you.
Yeah. I said, if I get fat or you guys get fat, we're going to tell each other. We're going to say, hey, Dad, you're fat. Just tell me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to have. And, of course, I've got my wife. She's been more diet oriented over in our married life than I have. I mean, I was a meat and potatoes guy. I had to have potatoes with everything. Not really a sweet lover, but if it's there, I'll go for it. But my diet was not the best. It really wasn't. It's all about diet.
Correct.
And I did not realize that when I got into competitive bodybuilding. It's diet. And it is a mind thing. People have to understand it's all in your mind. If you think you can or if you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
And 62, I don't feel 62. I mean, in the morning my ankles tell me I'm 62. But Laury and I just decided we were not, age is inevitable, I know that. But we were going to not be those people that were not mobile going. I mean, I'm okay with living into my 90s, but I don't want to be, in bad shape. And this is not a diss to those that find mobility a problem right now. we just decided we were going to be proactive. And so I owe a lot to Laury because she's a lot better on the diet. I used to laugh at her and go, yeah, whatever. But when you're paying a coach and he's in your life and you have your wife as a workout partner, you're held accountable, and that is really true. My dad used to say, all our dads, have those sayings, you are who you become, who you hang out with. You become who you hang out with. I hated that when I was in high school because, the guys I hung out with, no mention of any names, Dale Roth. But anyway, but it's really true. And it's true in life now, and you mentioned it earlier. And so having my wife as a workout partner, and we have other people we work out with, but she was in the diet long before. But getting somebody who understands, so we have a dietitian who can look and say, this week you're going to eat this way, a couple weeks you're going to eat that way. So it's just it's setting a plan and sticking to it. You don't have to be a competitive bodybuilder or a competitive bicyclist or mountain biker, but do something, move.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, if there's one tip, there's so many different diets out there. And I will say this, you need to find out what works for you.
Exactly. Different body types.
Right. Different body types, different exercise.
Yeah.
Exactly. My twin brother, Shane, and we have motivated each other and competed with each other for, 48 years since we were born. And we debate a lot about diet,
Yeah.
and of course he's a bodybuilder. He's not an endurance mountain bike racer.
Yeah, it's a totally different diet.
Yeah. And so we still get in fights about carbs, and I don't need carbs. I said, of course you don't need carbs, because your idea of a cardio workout is 30 minutes on a treadmill.
Oh yeah, 20 minutes.
Where your maximum heart rate's 109.
Yeah.
My idea of a workout is 5.5 hours on a mountain bike where my average heart rate is 155.
No. I do cardio. I hate cardio. The coach will say, okay, I need you doing 30 minutes of fasting cardio in the morning. Nothing worse than fasting cardio. Your body literally starts eating itself.
For sure.
Because there's
That's the
nothing
point.
there. That's the point.
Yeah, burn the fat.
And you're just sitting there, and I'll try and watch a TV, a news or some stupid thing. It's totally different. And people come to us and they'll say, well, what's your diet? Tell me what your diet is. And we'll look. There's a dozen people on our team. All of us have a different diet.
Correct.
My diet's totally different. Her diet's different. But we cut out the junk. We eat very little processed food. We pay attention. Now I'm getting back in contest prep, so.
Yeah, and I would imagine your cardio will step up a little bit before contest. And don't you increase carbs right before?
Well,
before you get on stage, correct?
Yeah, there's a real science to bodybuilding. We have a high protein, complex carbs. We don't need any simple carbs. It's a fairly simple diet, and we eat a lot. People will look at me and go, boy, you're just not eating that much. It's hard to get the meals in.
Well,
I'm eating 6-7 times a day.
Right, and here's what the difference is you're eating real food. You're eating whole foods, and I will tell patients, and I will tell anybody this about diet. If you want to start simple, just think this: a whole foods diet, and what that means. If you want to know if it's whole food or not, if it does not rot, don't eat it.
Don't eat it.
Think about that. If it doesn't rot, don't eat it.
Exactly.
So that's basically staying away from processed foods, and they are so calorically dense.
Oh yeah.
And they're just easy to eat and overeat because you can there's an unlimited supply of them in your freezer or in your pantry. So you got to be careful about that. Yeah. So think about this though. If fungus and bacteria will not grow or eat the food,
why are you eating it?
Then why should we be eating it? And think about what kind of nutrients our body is going to assimilate with that. If because part of our digestion process has to do with bacteria, or a major portion of it is bacteria. So if bacteria can't even process that food, then what's it going to do in our body? How much nutrients are we really going to get from it?
Yeah. Well, and that's really true. Simple carbs versus complex carbs, but empty calories is what we're eating. So again, people say you're starving yourself. It is difficult to get in all the meals. Talk to anybody competitive bodybuilding, probably in competitive mountain biking. When my coach steps up and says, "Okay, this is the amount you're going to eat," it's insane how much I eat. And then once in a while he'll trick us and throw a cheat meal at us or cheat day, and I hate him. And because go out and eat hamburgers, go out and eat pizzas. You do that, and there's a real science. It just your metabolism goes wacky.
Yeah.
And your body literally will look at those pizzas and stuff, and you can feel your body going, "What are you doing to me?" But there is, and so there's real science. And sure, when we get close to competition, a couple weeks out, we pull the carbs away, and then a few days before we reintroduce the carbs to get the muscles pumped up.
Oh, right, water, because carbohydrates pull in water.
Carbohydrates pull in water, so
make you look bigger. Yeah, correct. It. I will tell you this. I follow a lot of different mountain biking, racing podcasts and cycling podcasts, and of course, bodybuilding and endurance training is probably about the two most opposite things that you can do.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this: in almost all those podcasts, the speaker will talk about, if you want to know how to get big and lean, talk to a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And it's totally true.
Yeah.
So we are getting ready to go into our next break already. So you're with Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Hello, listeners and viewers. Welcome back to Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. We have Laury and Dave Chandler in the studio today. And remember, open phone lines. Any questions, 509-765-1470. Call in. All right, Laury, we got a question for you. So,
okay.
We were talking before the show, and you were talking about some diet changes you had because you are made because of Hashimoto's. Tell us a little bit about Hashimoto's and the dietary changes you've made.
Well, Hashimoto's is an autoimmune disease. It's your thyroid turning on itself, and Hashimoto's makes you very tired. And it can happen in your life. There's different reasons. Inflammation, of course, is what all autoimmune diseases have in common, but it can be introduced to your life sometimes through trauma. And I believe that's when I got it, was at the car wreck. It was very traumatic, and I believe that's when I got it. But it doesn't really matter when I got it. The fact is that I have it, and so it makes life very difficult. And I actually wasn't diagnosed with it until just a couple of years ago, and which was nice to know. Once you find out if you have it, then you can address it. And so I was taking some supplements and doing various things and trying to keep my hormones balanced, and that's always a great thing, especially as you get older. But I finally got to the point where I decided I needed to do something different, and that was with diet. And I put it off because, none of us like to make those tweaks to our diet if we are comfortable. But I decided to go on the AIP diet, which is the autoimmune protocol, and there is a website that you can get on and research. It's called Autoimmune Wellness, and they talk about different studies for different diseases and how this diet helps them. And it's quite restrictive, but I already am feeling better. I haven't been on it very long, and I'm really feeling disciplined, and I love the research that has come out that says that a lot of these people who are doing this, they are much more energetic, they reduce the inflammation in their bodies, and they're just healthier.
That's a great story. So yeah, we have at our pharmacy, at Moses Lake Professional Pharmacy, we have quite a few patients with Hashimoto's disease, and like Laury said, it's an autoimmune thyroid disease. So basically your immune system attacks your thyroid, and your thyroid helps maintain your metabolism, energy, mood, things like that. So if that's not working, obviously you're not gonna feel great. So, and like many autoimmune diseases, and I'm just gonna tell you, there's a lot of diseases that are autoimmune related, even if conventional medicine doesn't say so. Like many autoimmune diseases, it can be diet related. So, a couple of them I can name off the top of my head. Asthma is an autoimmune disease. Arthritis is an autoimmune disease.
Yeah, and dairy just kills those two.
Yeah, exactly. It's inflammatory. So before we go down the road of thinking that we need a pill or $1,000 drug to fix our problems, let's think about diet and exercise first. I mean, Laury and Dave in the studio here are great examples of how if they would have went the conventional medicine route, they would be on drugs and had multiple surgeries, and probably one of them at least would probably be walking with a cane. And I see that in my office quite often. Not so much anymore because we have really tried to encourage patients, and we have more of a health and wellness model. So we have a lot of healthier patients, and we encourage that. And you speak of hormone balancing. Hormone balancing is a part
Big
of that.
time.
Next week we're going to have Dr. Glenn Hoey. He's a naturopath, and he specializes in hormone balancing. So we'll go into a lot of that detail next week.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long have you been on this diet, and how are you feeling so far?
Well, to be honest, it's only been a week, but I've been researching it for a while, and I already have noticed inflammation going down in my body. My knees feel better. My body feels lighter. It doesn't feel as toxic. It's just hard to explain, but I just feel more relaxed, and I do feel a return of energy. And actually, I've been eating a lot, but I've lost a couple of pounds, which is great. And I think it's going to be a great thing. You know, I'm willing to try anything that's good for you. I'm not willing to try drugs and that kind of thing. And so my opinion is, why would you stick with the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet? Why would you stick with that and be in pain and keep getting worse and more arthritic or you know, more debilitated, and spend more and more of your hard-earned money on drugs? Why would you do that versus being a little disciplined, versus not living quite so much mainstream?
Well, let me tell you why, and that's why we had you guys on the show today, is that there unfortunately is some people don't realize they have the power to change that. And I blame our medical system on it. Our healthcare system, you know, it likes sick people. It doesn't.
That's true.
It likes sick people. It likes surgery. It likes drugs. And believe me, this is coming from a pharmacist. I mean, I understand the system, and that's one of the reasons that I have this talk show, to get information out there, to make people realize that they have a choice in this.
Isn't that the standard American experience? Go to the doctor, be prescribed, be pushed more medical care. I mean, I can tell you instances throughout my whole life. You need more of this, you need more of that, you need this, you need that. And I've just always been, no, I don't want it.
Yeah, that's what made us change our model in our pharmacy. And my wonderful wife, Janet, and I, you know, we've been doing it for over 20 years now. And we changed our model, about 17 years ago when we realized that we were enabling patients to stay sick. So a patient that was on 20 different medications, and they had all these diseases: diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you know, like you were saying, their knees hurt, they had all these arthritic problems, and really in reality, they just need to lose weight. They need to change their diet, and they need to lose weight. And we felt like we were enablers. We were like accessories to the crime. So that's serious, and that's when we made some changes, and we're like, you know what, we are going to try to promote more health and wellness and teach patients that they are empowered. And a doctor...
I love that about you guys.
Thank you. And a doctor is just a teacher. It should be just a teacher, not a prescriber of drugs, but a teacher. And said, you know, and I have a weight loss journey myself. In 2009, I lost 60 pounds. And I wish, to tell you the truth, you know, I was kind of making some tongue-in-cheek comments the other day about my kids calling each other out when we're fat. I wish a doctor would have told me, hey, Shawn, you're fat. You need to lose weight. Oh, but that wasn't the case. They wanted to put me on blood pressure medication. They wanted to put me on high cholesterol medication.
Exactly.
And I guarantee you, you know, what is it, 10 years later now, I guarantee you I'd still be on those drugs, and I would feel like crap and not be any healthier. And that's what some people don't think, is they think, you know, you talk about the standard American diet, and we talk about all these great drugs we have, high blood pressure drugs, high cholesterol drugs to treat heart attack and stroke, or to prevent heart attack and stroke. Guess what? It's not working.
Yeah.
The number one killer of Americans is cardiovascular disease. That is more than combined with cancers, car wrecks, anything else. It is cardiovascular disease, and being a healthy body weight is probably one of the best ways to prevent that. And the standard American diet, not working.
No.
So let's change it. So
Yeah.
I'm so glad you guys are on this show to inspire people about that. So Dave, you had something to add?
You know, and again, it's not a knock on doctors, but it is a system, and we both have been in it. It's a system they get stuck in, and frankly, they're trying to cover their backside, and so they're willing to prescribe because, you know, we're in a litigious society, and we're in a society that people don't want to hear the truth. And so, you know, so my hat's off to them, and I feel a bit sorry for them, you know. But having said that, I also applaud you and other medical professionals that are willing to stand up and say, okay, there's a different way. But, you know, we were at a talking to a medical professional, and he looked at me and goes, "Now, are you on statins?" And I said, "No." He goes, "How old are you?" And at the time I was 60. He goes, 60. He goes, "You need to be on statins." Why? Well, you just need to be on them. But I'm looking at myself going, no, I'm not going to do that. And so it takes personal responsibility. There's the key, personal responsibility.
And for those of you that know statins, atorvastatin or generic Lipitor, that's a real popular one. My wife likes to call them vitamin statin because in the conventional medical system, everybody would be on a statin. And statins are to help lower cholesterol, and that is one of the markers of cardiovascular disease, albeit it's a topic I could talk about for hours, but I think a small marker. I think cholesterol is probably more of a marker for inflammation and maybe lack of hormones, but that's for a whole nother discussion. But here's what I got to say about the statins, and I'm going to say it too, Dave. This is nothing personal against doctors, nothing personal against nurses, nothing personal against pharmacists. I get it. It's a system issue, so this is not personal at all. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons, as a pharmacist, Janet and I are standing out and saying, look, it doesn't have to be this way. Yeah. Here's what I find interesting about the statins is that, almost everybody's on them now. And I use that very loosely. But yet cardiovascular disease risk is going up. More people are dying of heart attacks. Okay, so it's not working.
No.
It's not working. No. And so there's more to it than just taking a pill. So speaking of the system, Dave, I know that you have a history in politics, and I know you love to talk about politics. So
I do.
Speak of the system and speak of government intervention in healthcare and what your thoughts are about
What a wreck. What a wreck. Here's my personal opinion, and I'm going to get on my horse until I'm told to shut up. Take responsibility for your own life. Anytime the government's going to give you something, they're going to take it away. And I'm one of those guys. I want to make the choices for my own life. I don't want a doctor making them for me. I want to make the choices. And so I'm alarmed at we're going to have the government who can't. Listen, they can't even get a diet right, okay? The food pyramid that should have been thrown out. I've got a pet peeve. Can I get on my pet peeve?
Go. This is yours.
This manufactured meat, laboratory meat, is anybody looking what's in that stuff? It is going to kill you. And they're marketing that as a healthy alternative. The sodium content is out of this world. And the chemicals are the same in lighter fluid. People wake up. It's just crazy what our government is allowing to go on. So would I want them in charge of healthcare? Oh, absolutely, Lord, no. So there I'm on my soapbox.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I really trust your opinions. I know you have a long history of politics, and one thing I want to discuss is that, unfortunately, Dave, you said you don't want them in healthcare, but they are in healthcare.
Yes, they are.
70% of all healthcare dollars are government dollars, whether it be state or federal. That is an alarming number. So when we hear about Medicare for all, if we think the system is messed up now and the government controls too much of it, what's going to happen when when the government controls all of it? Oh. So that's what scares me. Now, we do have options. Dave talked about it. Okay. Consumers are the drivers, all right? Consumers in the driver's seat. Consumers, you, the patient, has options, okay? And I am writing a book about this. It's called Sickened, How the Government Ruined Healthcare and How to Fix It.
Sounds great.
It is a great book. It should be out here in December. I'm looking for a Christmas release. And it'll be out in Kindle on Amazon. And then we're going to go to a softback or hardback cover. So, but I think what people need to understand is the government is not the answer. No. And with traditional health insurance, I'm just going to say this, and it talks about this in my book, traditional health insurance, whether it's employer-based or whether it's privately based, you buy it yourself, is government insurance. Yeah. Now, let me tell you why that is. It is so highly regulated that they are told what to pay and how much to pay for. So there really is no such thing as private healthcare insurance anymore, okay? But there are options, all right? And that's one of the reasons you will need to read my book. You can go to my Facebook page or the Sickened, How the Government Ruined Healthcare Facebook page, and you can get the free chapter to kind of get an idea what the book is about. All right, so how do you want to finish this up? What do you guys want us to know about you and inspire people?
Well, I would just like to say that if you are sick and you are tired and you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, like Shawn said, there are other options. And I think you guys would be a great place for people
Yeah.
to start and talk to. And, you know, like I said, we love you guys. And there's a lot of people around town that aren't necessarily the mainstream pushing all of the drugs and all of the other things. And, you know, talk to us if you want. We're available. We'd love to
Yeah.
talk to you. Shawn and Janet would love to talk to you. There are a lot of people who aren't mainstream who are trying to feel better, look better, act better, be healthier, and I think you ought to explore some other options.
Dave.
Take responsibility for your own life. There it is. Whatever it is you do, whether you're, but take responsibility. Don't give power to anybody else. And I think that's where we've gone in our life. We decided we could make the choices. And you can do it. Whoever you are, you can do it. Whatever condition you're in, you can do it. You can do it.
Thanks for inspiring us, encouraging us. I really appreciate you guys being here. So, I want to talk about your bodybuilding show. You got a bodybuilding show coming up in April. That's 5 months, Dave.
Yeah, April. Yeah, I'll get serious with the diet here. I'm supposed to be getting serious, but start January.
You need to start getting serious about the diet.
Yeah, yeah. You heard my coach. Yeah, he's got me holding off on real serious, but about 16 weeks out, we really get crazy with it. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. So what does that start like? When will you start cutting for your diet?
I'll
For
start
your
cutting.
show?
I'll start really serious in January for
Okay.
an April show. Because my age, I need about 16 weeks.
That is one thing. As we age, as you know, one of the most important things is recovery.
Yes.
Recovery is more important because we don't recover as fast. So.
Yeah.
So this is another show of Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. I appreciate Dave and Laury Chandler coming
Thank
out
you.
today.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. It was our pleasure for sure.
Oh, it's fun.
So next week, do not miss out. We have Dr. Glenn Hoey. He is a naturopathic physician from East Wenatchee, and he specializes in helping patients with diet and exercise, and he's a model in himself. He walks the walk, talks the talk. I think that's important when it comes to healthcare. And he will be with us, and he also specializes in hormone balancing. So you do not want to miss next week's episode. And please, if you have any questions, send it in on our Facebook. Shawn Needham is my personal Facebook page where we stream it. And you can also watch it on YouTube, Moses Lake Professional Pharmacy YouTube. And as always, there are open phone lines. This is a live show, so do not be afraid to call in. 509-765-1470. We would love to answer your questions. And at that, I think we're going to wrap this show up. I am going to talk about next week. Let me tell you a little story about Dr. Hoey. It'll be episode 7, and we appreciate you guys listening. And Dr. Hoey I've been working with him through our pharmacy for over 10 years now. And he is a model of health himself. He's a naturopathic physician, which if you guys don't know what a naturopathic physician is, he will give you more details on that. But one of the things a naturopathic physician works on is, naturopathic. So natural meaning he works more on holistic and diet stuff and how disease is related to a lot of diet. Another term for this can also be, maybe some of you have heard the term functional medicine. We are going to eventually have a functional medicine provider on our show and talk about functional medicine. And basically what these providers work on is fixing the problem, not just treating a symptom. So work at fixing the problems, not treating the symptom. Send in your questions. We appreciate you listening to another show. And as we wrap this up, Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham.